What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Bermuda Championship. And just right off the bat, before I even jump into that, big announcement that there will be subsequent small announcements for, but let's get this out to the public. I've been teasing this for a couple weeks now, but the Rick Run Good one and done World Championships on Splash is now live. It is available for sign up. I've talked about this over the course of the last couple of weeks. I've been going back and forth with Splash, who they've been great to us the last couple of years. I love what they're doing in the space, but trying to make sure that we get what we want while they get what they want. I mean, a real negotiation, a real compromise. So here it is. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got it up right now. If you're just listening, let me explain what's going on here. We were able to get a $1.25 million guaranteed purse. This is the largest one and done on the internet. Okay. $1.25 million guaranteed. So first off, that's a golf clap. Hat tip to all of you. I remember just a few years ago, I was doing this in Google Sheets with 180 people. Then we moved it to like Office Football Pool, and we were doing it through League Safe, and it was like 500 people. Then we went to, I think we got 800, and then I think we got like 1,200, then like 2,200. Then I think last year was 3,800 or something like that. This year is going to be 5,500. And hopefully we fill that, because that will ensure things are continuing to move forward and things are good. And there's no reason to think it's not. So incredible explosion of one and done, incredible support for you guys. Thank you very much. It's really, really cool to see. So a couple of things here. It's $250 an entry, which I realize is more expensive than it's been in the past. The idea around that is, $250 over 31 weeks is $8 a week, right? So I think most people are playing that anyway. It's just, this is an upfront payment. So that's kind of what we settled on there. And we lowered significantly the number of max entries that you can do. So this was, I'm just going to address this right now, because this was the number one complaint from last year, and I agreed with it. So last year you could do, it was like 110 entries. It's way too much. I will say, we looked at the numbers. One person max entered it last year. One person then had 50 entries. And I think there were only 10 people who had more than like 10 entries or something like that. 99.7% of entries were single bullets. The winner, the second place finisher, the third place finisher, I think everybody in the top 50 was a single entry bullet. The guy who max entered lost money. Okay. So we did lower this significantly. This was a sticking point. I wanted it at 5 max. It's 25 max this year. This is Splash's safety net. This is what we compromised on to get to 1.25 million, to give them 25 entries, because the idea is that I'll just be completely transparent with you here. If this doesn't look like it's going to fill, they feel like they can reach out to their network and get people to max enter it over the last couple of days and close in on the guarantee a little bit. So that is where we settled. Again, compromise. Everybody's kind of halfway happy. So I'm okay with that. What I will say, if you enter this early and we fill this early, there will not be people who are max entering this at a high clip. If that is something that bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, like, it's not a big deal. It's not like NFL Survivor where you can kind of box yourself into certain situations. You have to just go out and pick the right guys anyway. Like I said, the guy who max entered last year, I don't think he sniffed a profit. So anyway, that is there. So there are going to be incentives. I can't speak on this now, but hopefully by this time next week, you will be incentivized to put your entries in early. And if you do that, you're going to be put into draws for things that are really cool, things that add value, things that I think would be a lot of fun. I hope to have more details on that in the next week or so. All right, moving along. Payout structure. So $1.25 million over the top 10%. So 531 people are getting paid on this. $100,000 for first place. Jarring. 64,000 for second, 25,000 for third. Does that feel like there's too big of a gap there? Maybe there is. Again, compromise. Splash wants a big amount for first place that we can market. I want a flat payout structure that rewards a lot of people. And I want segments so that those don't always jive together. So that gap there, listen, if you finish fourth for 20 grand, you're still done a great job. That gap there, that money comes out and goes to the segments, which means if you finish in the top 16 of any segment, you are being paid. So first place in any segment is $7,500. The segments there's 6 of them, and some of them are small, which I like, because if you are completely out of the season-long race, if you get hot for 4 tournaments in segment 5, like you can just win $7,500 or you can cash, or like it's all good, right? The idea behind this is I want people to be incentivized to make picks all year long, right? Not give up over the last 8 weeks because they're out of it. This is good for the game, good for the industry if you continue to make picks. So I hope this isn't just like a brain dump of everything that went into the last couple of weeks of negotiations and the last couple of years of seeing how these run, but I want to be just very transparent with you of why these decisions were made. So that's really where we're at. Other than that, it's very simple. It's going to run from the Sony Open through the BMW Championship. You're going to get $1 or a point for every dollar that your golfers earned. You can only use them once throughout the year. And I think this is a very, very strong contest that in collaboration with Splash, we've been able to put together. And I hope you guys feel the same way. And there are going to be a ton of other contests, right? It's not just this one. There's going to be a ton of other one and dones. This is just the first one that's out right now because, you know, I work so closely with Splash and we wanted to get this headline contest up. And I think there's going to be other contest types too. I'll just say it now. We'll put a little pressure on Splash. I believe there's going to be a cut survivor coming at some point, where you've got to pick a guy to make a cut until you miss a cut, which I think is very interesting. I've played in one of those a couple of years ago. It was a lot of fun. I think there's going to be the pick 3 at the majors and the players, which was very popular last year. You pick 3 golfers at each one of those 5 tournaments and you get the money that you earned. That was very popular. So I think there's going to be a lot of other things outside of this across a variety of price points and formats and all that fun stuff. Doesn't even begin to mention the weekly contest. So there's actually a weekly contest up for the Bermuda Championship right now, $5,000 guaranteed. These will get bigger as the season goes on. I think last year we were getting these weekly contests up to $25,000 guaranteed, and it's a tier system, which I like. So that was the long-winded version. I meant to talk about that for a minute. I probably talked about it for 7 minutes, but I think me saying it out loud and being held accountable and telling you guys why decisions were made, I think is important. So that's where we're at with Splash. I think it's a lot of really good contests for 2026. And I mean, even this week. So yeah, I'm quite happy about all of that. All right. Let's turn our attention to the Bermuda Championship for this week. New course key stats tool. You saw this last week on a golf course that did not have shot link. You're looking at it again this week on a golf course that does not have shot link. It's Port Royal. It's Bermuda. It is by professional golf standards, very short, 6,800 yards, and that has been lengthened over the years. If you look at some of the winners here, Brian Gay's destroyed this golf course in his career. Lucas Herbert, Seamus Power, Camilo Villegas, Rafael Campos. No one is describing these guys as long hitters. The defense here is that there's water in play on 7 holes. The defense here is that you often get some pretty windy conditions, right? If you know, you're right there on the island is not that big. You're right there on the coast. You're getting exposed to the wind pretty frequently, and that, if it kicks up, plays the defense. If there is no wind, they will shred this place. And even if there is wind, the winning score could be 19 or 20 under par. If you look at the correlated stats for this week, a lot of scoring stats again. The birdie or better percentage is 2% higher here than it is at tour average. The bogey or worse percentage is 1% less here, fewer or less, fewer than tour average. If you look at the correlated stats to success, birdie to bogey ratio, birdie average, par 4 scoring pops up here, very strongly correlated. What you'll also note, though, is if you looked back at last week, a lot of the correlations values were in like the 0.3% range, which is quite strong. There are only 4 stats that would qualify as strong correlation values, 0.25 or greater, and they're scoring stats: birdie to bogey ratio, birdie average, par 4 scoring, and birdie or better percent. You're also going to see strokes gained approach quite highly here, as you can imagine. 1.84. It's always very high. Approaches from inside 100 yards, and approaches from 150 to 175. So this kind of adds up, right? You're getting a lot of short holes in which you can get yourself into wedge range and then try to give yourself an opportunity to make that putt. That is how you score. So we're going to look for par 4 scoring. We're going to look for birdie makers. We're going to look for approach players. And that's probably going to be the major basis of what our model looks like when we get to that point at the end. Again, this new course key stats tool is amazing, but it really thrives with shot length data. So when we get to the RSM Classic next week, you're going to see this in a very different way. But for now, still very, very helpful. Here's the cheat sheet. 3 golfers over $10,000 on DraftKings, and my goodness, we have reached it. Rico Hoey is the most expensive player on the slate. Look at the, I mean, just like hashtag team no putt. This warms my heart to see Rico Hoey and Kevin Yu as the 2 most expensive players on a slate. That just absolutely warms my heart. Rico, $10,400. I imagine that's probably the most expensive he's ever been. I could check it, but finished T17 here last year. We don't have the strokes gained shot link data from the Worldwide Technology Championship, so we don't know how that putter cooperated. Though he finished T21, he got hot on. God, he went out in like 29, I think, in one of those Saturday rounds or something like that, but just did not, stalled out a little bit. Still a pretty strong finish at a golf course that you just had to go out and shoot 30 under par. His fall has been fantastic. Outside the miscut at Jackson, it's just nothing but top 20 finishes. Really, really strong stuff. I'm not, if you liked Rico Hoey last week, which you probably did, and I did, there's no reason to think that you're not going to like him this week. I was probably higher on Kevin Yu last week than most. Total whiff. Misses the cut, doesn't even sniff it. Like loser strokes to the field both days at El Cardinal. That's brutal. I'm interested to see what the industry does here, because you've got Rico Hoey, who's fantastic and has been awesome all fall. You've got Thorbjorn Olesen, who I'll get to in a second, is like the hottest player in this field right now. And then in the middle, you have Kevin Yu, who's coming off this miscut. Kevin Yu and Rico Hoey's skill sets are very, very similar. And Kevin Yu has started to putt a lot better than his baseline. He's finished 3rd, 30th, and missed the cut in his 3 trips at this event. If you start looking at some of the trend stuff, I want to see, if we get to Kevin Yu, I want to see Kevin Yu's putting heat over versus his baseline. Yeah, okay. So he is, and there's a good and bad to this, right? He's picking up 1/3 of a stroke per round with the putter over the last 36 rounds to his 100 round baseline. So he is making marked improvements with the flat stick, which, if that is real and continues, he's going to be a problem, right? So that's a very good place for Kevin Yu to be. I think there's still enough to squeeze out of this, especially in a situation where he's probably going to be pretty overlooked. If you look at the Thorbjorn Olesen model, another top 20 finish last week. So he's now got, he's 4 straight top 15 finishes. He has 6 top 20s in his last 7 starts. The only cut he missed was, or the only one that was not in there was the miscut at the Pro Core. If you look at the trends tool and just look at the strokes gained trend, which looks at the 100 round baseline for every golfer plus whatever number of rounds you have put in here. I have 36. It is Thorbjorn Olsen who is the best player in this field, and he is not doing it with any contributions from the putter, right? So he is just beating himself off the tee, on approach, and around the green. He is dead even with the flat stick, which is about one of the better models that you can get. When you start looking at other guys who are, significantly over their heads in strokes gained total, they're mostly doing it with the putter. Rico Hoey's getting a little bit of putter help. Sammy Valamaki's getting nearly 3 times that. And then Taylor Montgomery is getting like 4 times Rico Hoey's benefit with the flat stick, all compared to themselves. So those are a little bit more concerning. Fishburne, Suber, same thing. The guys that are like, oh my God, this is something's happening here are Thorbjorn Olsen, Matt Wallace, Bo Hostler, and Chris Ventura over the last 36 rounds compared to their 100 round selves. So I think a lot of the 10K range, to sum this up, is pretty game theory-esque. I think in a vacuum, Thorbjorn over Rico by a hair because you saved the $300. If you are playing a lot of entries or you're playing in something where you think you're going to have to be pretty different, Kevin Yu, I think, lays that foundation. But I think for me, saving the $300, going to Thorbjorn, getting the model stuff is going to be really good. We'll see at the model at the end, but for now, I'm going to click favorite on his name and save him as my top guy in the 10K range. 9K range is pretty interesting in its own right. Matty Schmidt played well last week. I think the Nico Echeverria $9,700 really quiet, like that was he's had the most quiet stretch of back-to-back top 15 finishes, and I'll tell you why. So his last 8 rounds, he has gained strokes to the field in all 8 of these. One was in Japan, which was on in the middle of the night, and we did not get the shot length data. The other was the Worldwide Technology Championship in Cabo, which was a month later, and he started out pretty slow and had one of the better weekends, right? I mean, he finished by gaining 7 strokes to the field over the last 2 rounds, and it was probably not a very highly watched event. So you're like, okay, well, if you're not paying attention, if you're not paying a lot of attention, you have no idea that Nico Echeverria has been one of the best players over the last 8 rounds. And that's a small sample size, but let's just do it. 8 rounds for everybody on the PGA Tour alone in this field. How high do we think Nico Echeverria is? I mean, you're going to have some winners in here, guys that won golf tournaments, right? Like Michael Brennan's probably going to be number 1. Although Michael Brennan I guess he does have 8 rounds. Here we go. 2.18 for Nico Echeverria. Fantastic. 5th best total, and actually 2nd best total in the field. Ramey and Olsen are 1 and 2, and then it's a tie for Rogers, Hoey, and Nico Echeverria. So that was just incredibly quiet. He has, if you look at his wins, or I guess if we look at, I bet you we should probably look at his top 10s or top 20s. That might be more telling, but I'm going to try to build a narrative here. So let's do his top 10 finishes. And I think this is going to show us a lot of tropical golf, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Puerto Rico, he won. Worldwide Technologies T6, Seaside course at RSM. It's not tropical, but it is obviously Seaside. Sony Open Waialae, that was the runner-up finish there. And then the 2 events in Japan. So I don't know, maybe it was more than I thought. I thought we were going to see Bermuda. I thought we were going to see Puerto Rico again. I thought we were going to see a couple of other things, but not the case. Still pretty good. His history here, he's played here 3 times. He's finished inside the top 30 twice. He's never finished inside the top 20. It's a couple of decent results. I'm kind of in on this, right? I like the way he plays. He has winning upside. Very talented guy in a good situation in a quiet spot. Patrick Rogers has gotten better each of his last 3 starts on the PGA Tour. Again, the T6 at the Worldwide Technologies was very quiet, but he picked up at least 2 strokes to the field in all 4 rounds there. The more intriguing part is the way that he has just dominated here. So he has played here in 2024, finished 9th, 2022, 3rd, 2021, 4th. He's been fantastic. It is probably, boy, let's just do this real quick. Let's do everybody in this field, minimum of 3 starts, for actually not everybody in this field. Let's just do Patrick Rogers. It is probably his best golf course combination. Let's see. 2nd best. So Vedanta World, he's got 4 starts there. He's picking up 2 strokes per round. Port Royal is his second best, 1.43. He's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. The miscut hurts him a little bit there in terms of the metrics, but it's his second best course for his results. So yeah, that's fantastic. We can. Would you start lineups Nico and Patrick Rogers? I don't think it'd be the end of the world. What happens if you just get a week where Hoey doesn't putt well, Kevin Yu doesn't putt well, and Thorbjorn Olsen finishes 13th? Like, that's not good enough. So there's a case to be made that you could probably start Nico and Patrick Rogers and feel pretty good about it. Here's Michael Brennan's profile. I've got to update his headshot. Sorry, Michael. I was really interested to see what he was going to do. Right after the win, actually played well out of the gate. Thursday, Friday, he picked up strokes to the field, not a lot, less than 1, but he gained, and then struggled on the weekend. So I think still put me firmly in wait and see. I think in all likelihood, I don't have much exposure to Michael Brennan until 2026. This week, probably not going to have much, if any. He might not even play the RSM. If he does, we'll see. But probably just going to be a 2026 guy. For me, he's $9,300. I'll let that price settle back down instead of chasing and paying up for it. As we get to the $8,000 range, what I fired up was the holy grail for best putters in the last 5 years on Bermuda grass. And you're going to see Matt Kuchar is the second best putter on Bermuda in this field, minimum 20 starts. He has 56 starts, a lot of starts. He's $8,600. We talked about him, I think maybe on the live chat last week. He's playing great golf. This stretch where his fall has been 13th, 18th, 11th. He is now going to go to a golf course where distance does not matter again. And then he is likely to finish up in a home game at Sea Island. I think that Matt Kuchar is very playable for the next 2 weeks. I don't know beyond that, but I think that he is very playable for the next 2 weeks. 47 years old, still rocking it, like playing great golf right now. And historically, great surface for him. And on paper, a place that he's never played, because it is so short and control matters, like, should also be pretty good for him. It's about as good of a fall run of setups as you could get for Matt Kuchar. The rest of this range is a little uninspiring. Do we think Sami Välimäki runs this back and plays well? He is generally one of the more volatile players that we have on the PGA Tour. Just look at his results here. T7, cut, 19th, cut, 60th, cut, 34th, 8th, second, cut, 72nd, second. So it's like he is all over the map. I bet you if we look at the power rankings and look at his strokes gain distribution, we're probably going to see, I guess I should open this up to some more rounds and some more tours, but I bet you we're going to see some like weird stuff out of Sami Välimäki. Like doesn't gain to the field often, but when he does, he gains a lot. Yeah, that's exactly right. So here we go. He's 56% of the time he picks up strokes to the field. That's fine. Nothing special. But then he's pretty much below his peers in this price range at gaining 1 or more, 2 or more, 3 or more, 4 or more, but 5 or more. Yeah, one of the best guys in the field, right? So it's just like when he plays well, he plays really well, but doesn't do it very frequently. So if you're looking for some of that high risk, high reward, Välimäki is sitting here. The triple take that I did was on Sahith. If you guys have been paying attention, I'm like absolutely a Sahith believer. Absolutely am I. He's healthy. He's motivated. He is the best player in this field, right? I mean, is that fair to say? If I do everybody in this field since the start of 2022, sort by strokes gained total, he's got to be number 1, doesn't he? He's not. Oh, well, he had that. I guess. Sorry. I guess he had that basically entirety of 2025 in which he was giving up strokes. He was hurt. So pedigree wise, I don't know. Feels like he's the best player in this field. Oh, this is just on Bermuda. I was like, where are his wins? Let's try this again. Everybody in this field, Since the start of 2022, he's got to be up there, doesn't he? He's right here. Yeah. Okay. All those losses in 2025 didn't help. He's got the win. He's got the 13 top fives. That's probably the most. It is. Most top fives, most top tens, most top 20s, second most top 20s. Fewest missed cuts of anybody who's played as many starts as he has. Let's see. My guy's got 100 starts. He's got 112 starts. Let's do 100 minimum starts. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. I cherry picked a little bit, but I don't think I'm getting much pushback that Sahith Theegala is, when everyone is playing their best golf, he's the best player in this field. And he's $8,000. He's healthy. He's played much better in the fall. The two events that were that we had shot link data, he knocked the cover off the ball and he had a complete gain at the Black Desert. He hasn't played the Bermuda Championship since 2021 because he hasn't had to. He's healthy. He wants to play golf. I'm stunned he's $8,000. I will probably bet him to win and be pretty happy about it. Okay, stop me if you've heard this before, but Takumi Kanaya, $7,900. His fall started with a miscut. Then he went 21st, 4th, 33rd. And the worst performance was really just Sunday in Cabo, where he lost 6 strokes to the field. It was probably one of the worst rounds of the day. Still finished 63rd. This is definitely a better golf course for him. Shorter. It's, depending on the weather, you might have to control your ball a little bit more, but it's not those super wide fairways that are impossible to miss. They'll be fine. But you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying about that? So this is a better setup for him here in Bermuda than Cabo was. And he's playing great golf. One bad round. He has had, actually, yikes. His last 2 Sundays have been pretty bad. But 6 of his last 8 rounds have been great. 9 of his last 12 rounds have been great. Let's keep going. Wow, he stinks on Sunday. 12 out of his last, what's that, 15, 16 rounds have been great. Sunday's a problem. We got a Sunday problem for Takumi Kanaya. But otherwise, very, very, he was $7,900 last week too. So just didn't move. Is this a weaker field? It's got to be a weaker field. Better golf course for him. Justin Lauer is $7,300. I think there was a lot of investment on Lauer last week. Started off really well and struggled on the weekend. Finished 3rd at the Black Desert. The thing that people will like is that he's been awesome here. 4 straight top 20s, a 5th place finish here last year, an 8th place finish in 2022. Outstanding stuff in Bermuda from Justin Lauer. If you look at some of the, I think he also pops up on, oh, maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was popping up on the trends tool as well, but I am wrong in that scenario. Outside of those guys, I have a new, I'll actually probably release this at some point this week, but a new tournament predictor model. I like it better. It's 10,000 simulations instead of 1,000 simulations. One of the guys that modeled well was Sam Ryder, which I think he tends to on these putting birdie fests or conceivably putting birdie fests, depending on what the weather does, but finished 5th here last year. Has the ability to just go scorching hot. His results have been okay. They haven't been great, but he was a guy who outperformed basically what the implied odds would be. Sam Ryder showed up on that model as well. He is more expensive than Justin Lauer, believe it or not. $7,300 for Lauer is a pretty good price. And then if you know anything about me, you know I load up on these young guys. Jackson Suber, who's $7,200, finished 15th at the Black Desert, where he was phenomenal for 3 rounds. Finished 11th at the WWT, where he was phenomenal for 3 rounds. In fact, over the last 3 rounds, he was probably the best player in the field. He lost a stroke and a half on Thursday. Is that an accurate statement? Well, you know what? While I'm here, let's just do it. Let's do everybody at the 2025 Bermuda. Oh no, Worldwide WWT. Oh God, Worldwide Technologies. Hate typing the whole thing out. And then let's do rounds 2, 3, and 4. Do I have this right? I do. second best. Ben Griffin gained 3.9. Garrick Higo gained 3.9. Jackson Suber gained 3.57. That's pretty sick. So, yeah, Suber, excellent player. And then David Ford finished 40th, and it was just a bad round on Friday. He had an 8, which is a quad on number 15. He also he went 39-30 for a 69 on Friday. I believe it was Friday. Might have been Saturday. So he's not going to make a quad this week, I imagine. It was a lot of weird. I think he bogeyed a par 5 as well. He's raw. He's going to figure this stuff out. Talent. Jackson Suber and David Ford. I think the biggest incentive of starting with two guys in the 9K range who were Patrick Rogers and Nico Echeverria is that you might not have to dabble too much in the 6K range. I honestly think that's like the biggest incentive of doing that. $6,900 is Jeremy Paul. We'll talk about him in a second. If you're looking at the cheat sheet and you're trying to find guys that have like back-to-back made cuts, you're not really going to find it. Tyler Duncan's got back-to-back top 25s. They're on the Korn Ferry Tour. You know, you're really hoping for a dart throw that goes right here. So let's look at Jeremy Paul for a second. So Jeremy Paul finished 16th at last week in Cabo, where he gained in all 4 rounds. He's played a lot this fall. The results have been okay. He missed the cut at the Pro Tour, made the cut 48th, made the cut 51st, and then his best finish was El Cardinal last week. He has not played the Bermuda Championship. He is an incredibly talented player all over the globe. I like Jeremy Paul's game. I trust him. I don't know if I can say a lot of that about these other guys. I'll look at Adam Svensson real quick. I'll look at David Skins. I'll look at Dylan Wu. I'll look at somebody named Sam Anderson. What was that? It's not something I say a lot. Blades Brown is here. He's like 5 years old. He's incredible. And I'll look at Jonathan Bird real quick. Okay. So here's Adam Svensson, $6,800. Played well last week, has not played well at all this fall. Driver's a big problem. Let's see how he does it off the tee. Probably not good. Very accurate, very short, which could be better here. Wedges are pretty good. That's not bad. Like a 5 out of 10. That's not that exciting. David Skins is always good for 1 or 2 really good rounds a week. This is a place that he's played twice. This is like a 4 out of 10. I think I like Svensson more. Dylan Wu, bouncing back and forth between the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour. Missed the cut at the Black Desert. It's a very different golf course. Has he played here before? Almost certainly, right? Yeah, he's never missed a cut here. This is pretty interesting. I mean, Dylan Wu's talented enough to be on the PGA Tour. He does not need to be bouncing around. The driver has been a problem for him. Not the rest of his game has been sharp at all, but I do like Dylan Wu's game more than a lot of these other guys. He's a positive putter on Bermuda. He's incredibly talented. Samuel Anderson from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, 26 years old. He's playing a strictly Korn Ferry Tour schedule. This is a very non-Korn Ferry Tour schedule. A lot of the Korn Ferry Tour guys are like miscut second, miscut third. He missed a lot of cut, but like it's kind of got just a bunch of okay finishes. Has he played this before? No. Okay. Well, he gets the benefit from the 10 strokes that he gained at the Pinnacle Bank Championship. He gets the benefit from the 5 he gained at the Compliance. I guess he is a little bit more volatile than I was making it out to be. He'd be like my 5th or 6th option. What's Jonathan Bird been up to? Look at this guy, 47 years old, still cooking, playing great golf. I'm sorry. This is farther back than I thought it was. So he doesn't have a PGA Tour start since the Barracuda, which was in July, but he finished 23rd. Then he played in Napa 19th, and he gained strokes from approach through the putter. He'd be like my 6th best option in this range. Let's see what the model has to say. So we are modeling on, first and foremost, we are modeling on weighted strokes gained total for 10. We are doing strokes gained approach the last 36 for 25. We are doing par 4 scoring for 20. We are doing approaches inside 100 yards for 10 and 10. That's going to be a lot. We're going to do Bermuda putting for 15. And then we're going to do our final 10 on birdies or better gained. My number one golfer is Thorbjorn Olesen. Yeah, that feels about right. All right. Number 2 is Kuchar. Yeah, I just feel like I'm going to have to play Matt Kuchar this week. Matt Wallace is 3. Taylor Montgomery is 4. Victor Perez, David Skins, Zach Blair, Sammy Valamanki, Ben Coles, Nico Echeverria. I'll admit, don't feel super great about this. And I should. I mean, it's my model in which I put in the parameters from my tools on my website that come from my brain. Why don't I like this? Is it because it's the field and Taylor Montgomery has burned me 5 straight weeks? Victor Perez has been playing great golf. He's only $8,100. That's probably a steal. Victor Perez is just, he like pops in the models. He's like always doing like, yeah, he got off to an unbelievable start last week. Just didn't finish. He's always around. I'll favorite him. God, I really hate this. What if I started I wonder how much it would leave me if I did Thorbjorn, Nico Echeverria, Matt Kuchar, Victor Perez. That's probably too much. And I would need to get down to Sam Adams or whatever his name is. Sam Anderson. Sam Anderson. Yeah. I got work to do. We got work to do. Wednesday live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time, Rick Run Good YouTube channel. Oh, I will say this as well. We can also talk. There is a DP World Tour Championship this week. Tommy Fleet was playing, Rory McIlroy's playing, everybody's playing. I think it's only 50 guys left for their race to Dubai. So that's always a cool event too. So when those salaries come out, I'll load those in. But yeah, they're there. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Go sign up for the one and done. There will be incentives to do that, which I hope to announce very, very shortly. But I appreciate you guys in a big way. Best of luck this week, and I'll talk to you soon.